we move to the last startup. It's NADI Systems from Taipei program as well.
Hello everyone. Bonjour à tout le monde. Vitam. My name is Chris. I'm responsible for the product management at NADI. Our company is in the business of 4-dimensional data visualization for management of operations and infrastructure. We're looking for either investors or partners. We already did the round A of investing. And right now we are at various different events for raising again. We are looking at raising 5 million USD right now in some time over next 6 months and expand regionally a little bit. But I believe you can first watch the video and then have some questions.
Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Chris and I'm in charge of product management at NADI System. We are a Taipei-based company of 50 plus people. We've been in business nearly 5 years now. We are in the business of 4D visualization for management of operations and infrastructure. We are currently focusing on smart building and smart manufacturing markets, and we are heading into the smart city domain. At this moment, we're also incorporating Malaysia and Thailand. Originally, our revenue was driven by project delivery, but these days we are venturing into licensing and software as a service business models. At a system integration level, we've worked with industry, government, military. We have few products. 3D OCMS is a flagship therein. OCMS stands for Operations Central Management System. There is also NCS, think of it as a hub/gateway/router for IoT. Geographic Information System is like Google Maps, but with 3D building infrastructure management aspect. We also have proprietary patent pending tech for intelligent video analytics. Here is how our 3D OCMS looks like. It is a very high level system. It sits above many other systems such as SCADA, ERP, CCTV, HVAC, to name just few. It uses on-scale 3D models of physical infrastructure and allows our users to manage buildings and equipment following the digital twin paradigm. Sensor data, camera feed, remote control, all is fair game here. It also monitors all the data on a 24/7 basis to detect anomalies and dispatch alerts. It can be used for monitoring, managing, and troubleshooting physical infrastructure and operations, but it can also be used for simulation, validation, and planning. It can run natively on a GPU-grade desktops for maximum rendering power, as well as in a web browser for a less graphic-intensive, lighter experience. Next year, we're going to offer it as a software as a service on a public cloud. Now you're looking at our geographic information system. Here too, physical infrastructure can be managed similarly to OCMS. Buildings can be expanded on the map and you can look into the internals of what's going on in there. And all this runs in a web browser. Here is a project we did for seaport management in Taiwan. Ships can be tracked real-time. Data can be accessed from vessels, warehouses, and other objects. This one is a project with Microsoft for managing their new data center in Taiwan. In addition to what a typical DCIM software can do, we also enable broader context of a building, a compound, or even a geographical zone. Multi-site operations can be managed this way in a very intuitive way. Something a bit more fancy. This is how we are approaching the smart city market. Local governments are still waiting for the industry to come with a proposal for how to actually implement smart cities. We are already building these kind of experiments with photorealistic renderings of cityscapes. Here is something more practical and more marketable, a video surveillance system built on top of our maps. We've been really busy. During the first year of business, we've already delivered successful projects. On the second year, we've delivered projects for manufacturing and security surveillance. We've also delivered projects abroad. In Singapore, we've delivered a project for Changi Airport. And later that year, another project in Thailand, a war room for manufacturing. In 2020, we've delivered our 3D OCMS for Foxconn Smart Factory in Wisconsin, USA. This year, we've worked with Far Eastone in China for their Shanghai headquarters smart building project. We sincerely hope you find our products interesting. Please reach out and let's explore opportunities together. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have questions, panels?
Okay, maybe I will start. Łukasz from Poland. Chris, could you tell us a little bit more about smart factory solutions? Because you mentioned a lot about smart cities, smart buildings, and so on. But you mentioned also that you've done a lot of projects regarding the smart factory. As I probably know it is about some digital twins and so on technology. But if you explain us a little bit more about these projects.
Sure. Typically, what happens is we are working with some other partners for implementing this kind of Industry 4.0 smart manufacturing projects. And we are responsible for the last mile part of the total solution. Last mile because there are other systems beneath, and some other contractors might be actually delivering some other systems. Also, even though we have the capacity, but typically some other partners and contractors will do the all IoT integration. And then we come at the last mile and we plug all of these other systems, SCADA systems from very close to the hardware all the way to some higher level systems. Even things like IoT platforms like ThingWorx from PTC, which we are partners with. And we build this kind of OCMS special flavor for manufacturing when people can see the model of the factory floor on scale. And not only that can be visualized, but it can also have hooked up some sensors to see, for example, where employees are on the factory floor. Also, there's a special variant of our solution that is directed directly at information screens, dashboards, or kind of war room, a kind of control center when there are multiple video walls. And we have this kind of interactive or non-interactive dashboards. So 3 possible scenarios typically we work with. Sometimes we only implement one of them, sometimes many. And for us, we help to sell the success story of these other systems. Why? Because IoT is completely necessary to go for these projects, absolutely required, but it doesn't sell well. There's no wow effect to it. On the other hand, in the presentation layer, there are things that are extremely attractive to look at the demo POC, like virtual reality, and very practical. So we are in the middle. We make it look beautiful. We make it look really high-end, high-tech, modern. So it looks like from Minority Report movie instead of something from 1999. And that helps to justify the entire expense on digital transformation to the shareholder, to the board of directors.
Okay, of course. Thank you very much. Also, one question: your products are available on the Asian market, yeah? So, do you consider also to be on the European market? Is it the aim for you?
It is not only aim. We currently already, not European, not yet, but we already exist on markets outside of Taiwan. Now, we are approximately 50 people, and we are based, there are few of us, just literally a couple of people somewhere else, but most of us are in Taipei. And for us, the challenge right now would be not with delivering the software, because no boundaries for that, just over the internet deliver something. The problem right now will be to find a partner who can help us in 3 ways to enter another market. These 3 things are: first thing is help us with customer support locally. The second thing is help us with the integration of IoT. So if a customer for a project needs to have some data, they first need to integrate it. Sometimes they can do it themselves, but typically we don't see that. So we need a partner for that. And that's actually, there's plenty of partners who can do that. But the third thing that we need that is a little bit more tricky is some partner who have capacity of 3D modeling. So the thing is, before you can see this final outcome that looks all great and everything, somebody has to do the work. Sometimes people will have 3D models because, for example, when they purchase a factory recently, the entire company who was doing the engineering, the construction, they already have this BIM model. So sometimes that's much easier. Sometimes they don't. So if we want to go to other markets and we are really loaded with the projects here close to us, we need some help with this. And after these 3 types of help are, realized, there's no other reason we wouldn't be somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I understand.
Yeah, you were talking about going to cloud and distributing your solution as a SaaS platform on the cloud. So where are you standing on that? I mean,
first, I want to say that the solution on the cloud will be different segment and different target from the one that we're doing. And the reason why we're doing it, you asked me where we're standing, but just want to give you this information, this context. The reason why we're doing this thing is because our revenue was coming from things like system integration, like project implementation. It's very, very difficult because your number of your employees becomes your direct bottleneck in how you can grow. So we want to move to the cloud, offer software as a service. So it's much easier to grow the business. We don't have to hire necessarily more people to generate more sales and sell more licenses and subscriptions, etc. However, first, your question, where you're standing on this. We will have an internal beta, let's say, version of it the end of the Q1 of next year. We already have engineering version of it working. And release, originally we were planning half of this year, we were planning to do the release right around that time. Probably right now we're thinking we will push the release a little bit further to end of Q2. Now, one more thing that I wanted to say about this business model. The solution that we sell right now is quite pricey. Not everybody will go for this kind of solution. Certain markets are just not part of our target, like typical end users, customers, they won't because the price is at a different point, right? But if we go to the cloud, then we might suddenly exist in the markets that we didn't consider, like.
Oh, it stopped.
it's because of Danny.
Maybe.
It just appeared instead of the guy.
Yeah. But he's completely stuck. So, hello, Chris. Can you?
Back.
Sorry, I'm not sure if this was. Not sure if that was on my end or. What I wanted to say is that the cloud version will be less in terms of features because the price will be completely different.
The point is maybe it will be a different market, as you said, because when you go to cloud, you lose a little bit like the security aspect of your software, and security is important, especially with the information carried on the platform by all this IoT and so on. So it will be, most probably a very different segment of usage and maybe customer that will go for the solution.
Okay, so far, for example, we noticed that most of our projects are such that there's no allowance for a public cloud. It's just simply not a possibility. But the private cloud is a possibility. So we have for our software as a service, it will also be possible to deploy it on premise on private cloud of customer. Like, for example, data center of Microsoft, they're using Azure, but it's still not the same Azure that everyone else is using. It's kind of private branch of it.
Okay, no, because we also have, as a company, as I'm working for Orange, an Orange Business Service Cloud, which is a cloud offer. It can be a public or private cloud for customers, but it's something to consider in terms of business development if we go to solicitate these people or others. But thank you very much. It's very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe that's all. So let me